What's up? It's Marv of the Miles Ahead podcast, and today I want to give my review on the Josh Taylor versus the Teofimo Lopez fight. It was a very exciting fight, and it was a one-sided victory towards Teofimo Lopez. Now, everybody they expected for Teofimo Lopez to lose. I mean, he was talking a whole lot of trash towards Josh Taylor, and he was also going at it in terms of social media and mainstream media by comparing other boxers to himself. Now, things have definitely unraveled in terms of what Teofimo Lopez has been making ever since he beat Lomachenko. He's been making $1 million per fight since he beat Lomachenko. Now, I would expect that he would definitely be getting a higher pay raise since he beat one of the best fighters in that division at that time. But ever since then, he's been only getting just $1 million. I mean, in fact, he had only gotten $1 million for the Josh Taylor fight. But at the same time, he still should not be comparing himself to other black fighters and also, just coming up with anybody who has made a significant quote that's black in general. Okay. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. I mean, he'll quote Michael Jordan, he'll quote Mike Tyson, he'll quote Ali, but he doesn't have any type of originality. Okay. So I do believe that Teofimo Lopez, he is great at talking a whole lot of trash, which is good for the sport of boxing. But in terms of his originality, that's what he lacks. And that's kind of what hurts him when it comes to promotion. Now, as far as him getting paid, he should be getting paid a lot more, at least $3 million or $4 million. And to me, it's kind of understandable, especially since every time that he has gotten into a fight that's major, he shows up. I mean, he showed up against Lomachenko. Okay, and he basically just showed up against Josh Taylor. So it just seems like every time it's a big fight, he shows up. And it seems like he just goes and he fights to the level of his competition. So against Sandor Montine, it wasn't a title fight and he wasn't really a big name. So he fought trash. Okay. Now against George Kambosos, which he definitely did lose that fight, especially the first one, and the only one that he lost, it was a very exciting fight. But at the same time, he still didn't get the victory, and he did not deserve the win. It definitely did deserve to go to George Kambosos. I mean, he outboxed him in the latter rounds of that fight, despite getting knocked down. So it's definitely understandable why George Kambosos had got that victory. Okay, and Teofimo Lopez, I mean, he goes through a lot of things mentally. Okay, and it's obvious. I mean, he has issues with a divorce. Okay, issues with his father, issues with whether or not if he's going to get the custody of his child or not. So it's just so many things that are really rearing its ugly head, and we're seeing it towards the media. Plus, he's not getting paid the amount that he should be getting paid at this moment, which makes it worse. So, and when it comes to him comparing himself to Tank Davis and also all the other fighters like Devin Haney and stuff like that, he shouldn't be comparing himself to them because at the end of the day, the reason why Tank Davis is the face of boxing right now is because he gets spectacular knockouts. Okay. And he's also able to appeal to his crowd better, that being the black guy. Okay, we all watch his fights. Okay, as for Devin Haney, on the other hand, you never did face Devin Haney. Okay, in fact, you ducked Devin Haney. Okay, and you definitely didn't have the chance to go up against him. So that's your problem. Okay, instead of you, going up against Devin Haney, you went up against George Gambosis and then you lost. And then George Gambosis, he decided to go up against Devin Haney and collect the belts from Devin Haney at the time because I believe Devin Haney, he had the WBC belt. And instead of you just, facing Devin Haney at that time, you went up against George Gambosis, you lost, and then Devin Haney, he beat George Gambosis. So it all came full circle around that time. And you was claiming all this time that you were the undisputed champion of 135, but that wasn't the case. You were just unified. That's all. So that's Teofimo Lopez's problem. He's delusional. I mean, even after he beat Josh Taylor, he's still not the undisputed world champion in 140. He's not. He beat the guy who beat all the other guys in that division, but he's still not undisputed. It's facts. So he turns around and then he drops his belt right before Devin Haney is getting ready to potentially move up to the 140 division because he had been in the 135 division for 8 years. 8 years. And then Teofimo Lopez, he decides to retire. Now, I definitely understand why he retired because he's not getting paid. Okay? He's not getting paid. I get it. He wants to make 100 million or anywhere that's, at least 8-figure deal for his next fight. And in my opinion, is he officially retired? I am aware that he definitely did vacant his belts. Yes, I do believe that he is officially retired. And I believe that he'll only come back if a big name comes to, his table, like a Tank Davis. Okay, that's a super fight that he's looking for. And to me, I feel like that's a super fight that he's going to get. Okay. And do I see him beating Tank Davis? We'll get into that later. But first, I'm going to dive into some of this fight. So, Teofimo Lopez, like I said, he was counted out. I counted him out because of everything that he was going through mentally. And also, he has issues with throwing the proper amount of jabs per round. He's not setting up his punches enough. So I did feel like that would be an issue. Plus, he does lunge at times. So that's why I felt that he would end up losing in this fight. Okay. But the exact opposite thing happened. Josh Taylor, he was terrible. He put on a horrific performance. Okay. And I mean, he was trying to bully Teofimo in the first 2 rounds. I mean, it worked in terms of the strategy, but he didn't keep it up. And after that happened, then, Teofimo, he just got into rhythm. And it wasn't like Josh Taylor was throwing feints to freeze Teofimo up so that he could throw his shots. He wasn't. At first he was, and then he wasn't. Okay? And then Josh Taylor, he was the one that was lunging in, trying to get his punches off. And, it would be a lot of times that he was off balance. And he was actually trying to fight dirty, pushing Teofimo Lopez's head down and he was also hitting him after the bell rang. Plus, then on top of that, he also hit Teofimo when the referee tried to break it up. And I want to say Teofimo, he was caught in the ropes, sitting down, and then he still threw a punch. Okay. And then, it just seemed like Josh Taylor was trying to, put put forth a whole lot of bully tactics. And in the end, it just showed that Teofimo Lopez, he had greater willpower and he had far better athleticism than Josh Taylor did in terms of Teofimo. Teofimo, he was landing a lot of power shots on Josh Taylor. He was also just dominating the rounds. He was great defensively. And, it's obvious that he did not throw enough jabs, but, he was doing everything else. And to me, I just think that he was just leading way too much on his athleticism, but it worked this time. Okay, this time it worked. All right, but again, he definitely does still have some issues. He drops his hands low, like I said, and also, he does lunge to a degree, but in this fight, he did it. So you got to give it to Teofimo Lopez for coming out on top. He came out on top, beat the man who beat all the other men in that division who had a belt during those times. So you got to give Teofimo Lopez his credit. As for Josh Taylor, on the other hand, again, he arguably lost that last fight, or he did lose to the guy, Jack Catterall, in his last fight. But the judges, they went his way. Okay? And it's not like Josh Taylor tried to get a rematch against Jack Catterall. He did it. Okay? Now, I could say that Russ definitely did play a factor in this fight. All right? I could say so. Possibly did. He was out for a year plus. And I definitely did believe that that could possibly be a reason why Josh Taylor could lose. But to me, it just seemed like when he was throwing his punches that he was trying to go toe to toe with the power puncher. And it's not like Josh Taylor is known for having this brute amount of power. He's not known for that. That's Teofimo. Okay, Teofimo, he was catching him off counters every time he lunges in to throw his shots. In my opinion, I don't even think that Josh Taylor was really even boxing at one point. Okay? I would score this fight probably around 9-3 or around, 8-4 if you want to be generous, because there are a couple swing rounds in there that's a little bit, up in the air that you could give to Josh Taylor. But to me, this is more so of a domination, unexpected, hero type of situation, because everybody wanted him to get knocked out because of the way he was talking. Okay. Can I see Teofimo Lopez, getting that figure deal that he wants? I think it's 8 or 9 figure deal that he's looking for. I can see it happening. Okay. But I do feel like it's going to have to be against a big name. And I definitely do understand why he retired. Okay. I can understand why he retired and why he, vacated the belt. And it's kind of smart. And to me, I also believe that he's doing it to avoid Devin Haney at the same time. But to me, I do feel like this is the best thing for him to do at this moment. Okay. Because at the end of the day, he is being robbed. He got paid $1 million for his last fight. At this point, he should be making pay-per-view money, but he's not. So to me, I think that you could cut Teofimo a little bit of slack here. And to me, if he were to go up against Tank Davis, I think that Tank will win in a dominating fashion too. Okay, I think that Teofimo, he relies far too much on his athleticism more than Tank does. Tank, he uses his boxing IQ to get his wins. Okay, and I believe that Tank is a more powerful puncher than Teofimo is. Okay, and as far as Josh Taylor, on the other hand, he's going to be in the back burner for a while. Okay, I mean, he embarrassed himself badly. And when it comes to this fight, I mean, he was on the verge of getting knocked out. In fact, I think that possibly, his trainer was probably just doing a towel or something because there was no way he was going to win that fight. I mean, the judges, they practically tried to give it to him. Okay. They practically tried to give it to him. And it didn't end up happening that way. All right. If Josh Taylor would have been just a little bit more competitive in two of those rounds that were dominated by Teofimo, possibly the judges would have gave him the fight because they scored it 7-5. In my opinion, I think it was far more of a gap. I think that after round 3 or 4, however you want to give it to Josh Taylor or whichever way you're thinking, after that, it was just a pure separation of rounds that was given to Teofimo in a row. So that's just my opinion on that. Now, as far as Teofimo versus Devin Haney, I think that Devin Haney would win because he hasn't moved up, and I think that his power is going to translate a little bit better. And I also believe that Devin Haney, he has faced very good competition. Plus, and on top of that, I also believe that Devin Haney, he will demonstrate a far better boxing ability than Teofimo has as of late. Okay. I mean, because even in this fight where he went up against Josh Taylor, he was throwing one punch, type of combinations where he's just looking for the knockout. Okay. And if Josh Taylor was able to take advantage of that, and probably throw more punches, because even Josh Taylor, he was doing the same thing as Teofimo. Like he's the person with the power in this situation. He wasn't. So I think that would be a big fight. But like I said, I think that Teofimo, he would either lose to Tank, he would lose to Devin Haney, and he would also lose to Shakur Stevenson. All right. I mean, I would even throw in a Frank Martin in there as well. Okay. Those are the fighters who I think that would definitely beat Teofimo. Okay. Now, some of those fighters, they haven't moved up yet. But in my opinion, I believe that would definitely be something that would be huge for Teofimo in terms of what he's looking for, in terms of the contract or the money that he's looking for. Those are the big fights that he's looking for. Okay. And I also believe that Gary Antoine Russell is in that division as well for 140. So I think that would definitely be a good matchup for Teofimo as well. So that's just my perspective on this fight. Teofimo, Josh Taylor, Devin Haney, and a little bit of Tank Davis. So that's it on this short take. And remember, let's not be inches, feet, meters, nor yards. Let's be miles ahead. Have a good one.